atmosphere at home been like lately? Has it been tense? Are you walking on eggshells or others walking on eggshells around you trying to avoid the next fight? How's the atmosphere at work been? Has it been similar? Are you full of more grievances than you are of things that you're actually appreciative of at work and in your relationships with others? Is there anything you can do about it? Or is it just the way that it is? Well, if you were to ask me, I would say that there is absolutely a lot of power that each and every one of us has over our atmosphere. The issue becomes whether or not we're willing to take the risk and step out in boldness and encourage to actually do something about the atmosphere that we find ourselves in. If you don't like the atmosphere, if things are feeling tense, if things are feeling frustrated, if things are feeling like there's just no flow, no harmony, no rhythm, then how can you play your part? So, one of the first things that I want to encourage you to ask yourself in the midst of a tense situation, there has been some on again, off again fighting, unresolved issues. Conversation typically ends in frustration, raised voices, or just quitting, giving up, walking away. Oh, we're just not going to talk to each other. I want to ask you, are you taking yourself too seriously? Are you experiencing emotion at such a high level that you cannot see a future of agreement or harmony beyond the feelings that you're feeling right now? Or the way that you're feeling is so strong right now that you have determined that this is a permanent state of your being, that you're going to feel like this for the rest of your life? Are you taking yourself too seriously? Is there something about the other person's point of view that's as serious as the position that you're taking? And is there any way that you could potentially laugh at your reaction right now? How many times have you had a disagreement in the past and you reflect back on it from a place where you've grown older and wiser, and you look back at the way you used to perform and show up? And you're like, I can't believe that we fought like that over that. And so, one of the ways that we can prevent prolonging the agony of conflict and being disconnected and having misunderstanding and really being at each other's throat is for each of us to take the opportunity to ask ourselves, am I taking myself too seriously right now? Or what about this consideration? Are you relishing in the power of punishment? Let's be honest. When someone has done you wrong and you could be angry at them and you can prolong that anger and you could prolong that tension and you could prolong that disdain, there's a power in that, right? You have a power to punish this person. You did me so wrong that I am going to make you feel what I felt. I'm going to make you feel worse than you made me feel. This is the power of punishment. And, people say it all the time. Hey, you not forgiving someone else is really punishing yourself. And it's really, really true. I remember many years ago when I realized that I used to relish in the power of punishment, right? Just like laughing, the evil laugh, the of I'm just going to be horrible towards you because you deserve it. You deserve for me to be horrible to you. And I'm cracking up laughing at the dark irony of get back. And one night, while I was on a small group meeting with my sisters in small group community, I pictured myself as the person wanting the response that you used to see in the Bible when a person realized that they had sinned against God, and they would be so mortified and horrified to realize how terrible their sin was, how they would, the scripture reads, rent their clothes or tear their clothes. Like, it would be such a dramatic you know, tearing of the clothes, covering their head with ashes, putting on sackcloth, like this big dramatic display of sorrow. That's what I wanted. That is what I wanted. And when I saw the picture of myself sitting up there with my arms crossed, wanting to see the renting of clothes, the pouring on of ashes, and the putting on of sackcloth, that's when I began to really say, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? What am I doing? Who made you God? Asking for a friend. I don't know that we always think about this final question. Are you giving yourself permission to be yourself? I don't know how often we think of this as part of what's contributing to tension at home or at work. There's so much societal pressure sometimes to be someone that you're not, to change who you are and how you relate to the world around you and the people around you so that you can somehow fit in or somehow nobody else can be made uncomfortable by your presence or the gift that you are in the way that you show up. Invariably, being who you are is going to offend somebody. Being who you are is going to make somebody uncomfortable. And a lot of times, tension comes from the need or the belief that if I'm not myself, then other people will be more comfortable. And one of my favorite quotes comes from President Nelson Mandela's speech about your greatest fear is not that you're going to fail, it's actually that you're going to succeed. And he goes on to talk about how you don't have to shrink so that other people don't feel small. You don't have to dim your light so that other people are more comfortable in the absence of your light. When I realized that sometimes my showing up makes the gremlins in the room say bright light, I just had to be okay with it. Gremlins don't like light. That's not, a reflection on something being wrong with me showing up being who I am. It's just exposing who the gremlin is in the room. And a lot of times we sacrifice the appearance of agreeableness or the appearance of civility at the expense of who you are. Y'all know how I get down. You is who you is. And if you're showing up trying to be someone that you're not, if you're showing up trying to prove that you're better than the last person, if you're trying to show up wanting to demonstrate that you're this image of perfection that you've painted or someone else has painted over you, then you are contributing to the tension and you are not helping to transform the atmosphere because it is in the place of authenticity that transformation takes place. And I remember walking into this space several years ago when I realized I was like, dang, like I like to dance and I don't dance in my house. Like I don't play music in my house. Like what is wrong with me? And then I began just being random, just like sliding across the carpet, coming into a room, just start dancing and just being extra because that's who I am. And I remember, looking back on my past that I once had someone look at me and laugh. It was like, you goofy. And the way that he called me goofy kind of hurt my feelings. But I was like, at that time, I didn't want to be goofy. I didn't want anybody to think I was goofy. Like, who wants to be goofy? But at the end of the day, the atmosphere in my house, the atmosphere in my work, it is light, it is pleasant, it is full of joy to the extent that I make allowances for the goofiness. I bust out singing. I have a Law for Love has a soundtrack. There's certain songs, things remind me of things, and I just bust out and I sing it. I remix things. My son and I, we play all the time. We turn random sayings into songs. We drop a beat to all kind of stuff. I'm sliding across the carpet dancing. I'm inviting my son and my husband into my goofiness. And those things have transformed my home into a place of laughter where we can hurry up and get over ourselves when things just aren't working out right. So we'll be talking a bit more about these questions and unpacking it. What can you do to transform your environment? How can you become the thermostat at home, at work, or wherever you find yourself? How can you command peace and bring peace with you in any situation, no matter how tense it might feel? These three questions are the keys to unlocking that transformative power. And I look forward to having that conversation in the Law for Love living room tonight, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, live, or you can catch the replay by registering for access to the Law for Love living room. I love you. Be blessed and encouraged.